just a simple man working on the land.
Hey guys, how you doing? Urban Gotham Prepper here, and today I thought I'd go over my IFAK, my individual first aid kit. So a lot of people have different purposes and reasons for their IFAK, certain situations that they gear for. If you are strictly using it for outdoors, hiking, camping, things like that, some people will limit what they may or may not put in their IFAK. If you are going to the range, if you're a firearm owner, you might put limited emergency type things in there. My IFAK is designed to be an all-around, all-purpose, whether it's everyday carry or going out to the woods for a hiking or camping trip or something like that. It's as compact yet comprehensive as I've been able to come up with as of yet. Gonna go through it as fast as I can because there's a lot of stuff in this kit. If you guys see anything that you think I'm missing, please leave comments and recommendations. I'm always looking to improve and expand and things like that. So let's get right into it. So this is my IFAK kit. This is everything is contained here within in a VanQuest Husky pouch. It is packed to the gills. As you can see, there's not a lot of space left in it. This thing is, I've got it packed out pretty tight. It weighs in, doesn't seem to weigh too much for the size and how packed it is once I can get this going. So this is set to pounds, so this is fully loaded as is, and this weighs in at 2 pounds, almost 10 ounces, so over 2.5 pounds. It's a little heavy, grant you that, but being that I am a healthcare provider by profession, I strongly stand by the tenet that you can't have enough medical equipment. For me, in my mentality, this is relatively stripped down, but I wanted it to be portable enough to throw in a bag. Obviously, it's not pocket size, but it'll stay either in an EDC backpack or in a camping pack or something like that. So let's get into it. So on the front pouch here, the only thing I have on the front pouch is quick access to the one thing that you cannot wait for, which is actually kind of difficult to get out. But this is my tourniquet. I've decided to go with the SWAT T. These are obviously very thin, very compact. They last a long time. There's no mechanical devices. I'm not knocking things like the CAT or other tourniquet devices, but this one, for packageability and price also, these things are actually pretty cheap. I ended up getting them for I found a sale. I think I got them for $5, $6, maybe $7 a piece. I got a handful of them that float around. So this is actually a really great way. It's very lightweight, very easy to use. So that's right on the front. And that's the only thing on the outside of the pack. I like having everything contained within my pack. So let's get right into it and open it. Now, this pack is set up in such a way that it's not set up in such a way. My only criteria was actually being able to fit things in here, not how speedily accessible they are. If I ever needed to get to something and it really was an emergency, I wouldn't care too much about just tearing it apart and digging after what I needed. I kind of know where stuff is. So when we open this up, you can see that there's just a lot of stuff in here. So what we'll do is, since there's no particular order that it's packed in, there's no sectional components, we're just going to move from left to right. So we'll do the left side and what's in here, and then we'll do the right side and what's in the individual compartments. So starting on this side, just one at a time, have a thermometer here. It's like an old style glass and mercury thermometer. We have a little bit of minor dental equipment, just really like a pick and one of those mirrors. I do have a disposable surgical scalpel. This is actually a surgical Mark marker pen. Always should have some form of light with you. So I just have a little solitaire, little Maglite solitaire. Yeah, and the batteries are actually still good. Little pre-packaged, this is from, I get a lot of stuff from Survival Resources. But just a little bit of duct tape. You know, it's not a lot. You don't really need a lot that often. Over here, I have a 1 mil syringe with a couple of smaller gauge needles. In here, not that it's necessarily emergency medicine, but always I keep them like kind of everywhere. These are the Katadyn brand Micro Pure water purification tabs. One of the most important things I have in here, whether it's this is generally for me, even more for emergent situations, not so much medical, is 3M brand N95 mask. These are just great for whether you're around sick people, whether you're sick yourself, or even anything up to, let's say, a catastrophic event, things like, 9/11. Everybody wished they had a mask like this. Moving into the top here, even though I threw that on the floor, tiny little container of Vaseline. Laying around, roll of medical tape, self-explanatory. Roller gauze, just for bandaging up wounds. Smaller size abdominal pads. These are just for bleeding control, any kind of larger wounds. I'll kind of pull this mess out here. Yeah, these are great for wounds that are a little bit deeper. If it's something that seems like it's deep enough that it might need stitches, but you're not anywhere near a hospital or urgent care, these will do great for the meantime. These are steri strips. They're great at helping close wounds. These are tegaderms. These are normally used to secure intravenous sites, but they're good for keeping wounds very securely covered to prevent infection. In a pinch, these work really, really well. A number of gauze pads, just more wound maintenance. A handful of sheets of Right in the Rain paper. The last two things are kind of odd. I got this from Survival Resources as well. These are disposable sunglasses. Now, I wear regular, actual prescription glasses, but I don't normally have prescription sunglasses. So these are actually just a pair of like ultra thin, almost disposable sunglasses. They're usually more for like if you're out like hiking or camping, so you don't get snow blind or things like that. This, I wish I could find more of these. I've had this for so many years, I really don't even remember how long I've had it, where I got it. It looks like a little piece of metal, but it slides together like so and makes like a little kind of drink, just enough to drink some water or pour some water into, like a little cup, but it lays pretty much flat in the kit, as you can see. So those are kind of the flat pack items there, and that's everything that's in this side of the kit. Let's proceed over to this side. On top, everybody needs a bandana. I actually spent the money on one of these survival ones. On top here, I have two pair of, they're not sterile, but they're not just thrown in a box. These are vinyl, exam gloves. They're just single set, single wrap. Over here in this little main compartment, I have a Sharpie and a pen. I do have two. These are not for everybody to carry, and getting them is, kind of difficult. But these are IV catheters is what they're designed for. But these are very, very large gauge. It's tough to tell. But these are 14 gauge catheters, and what I carry these for is in the almost impossible or unlikely event that someone has a tension or a tension pneumothorax or a tension hemothorax. I can do a needle decompression. I would not be practicing under medical authority, so it wouldn't be right, but I am trained and I am proficient and do know how to do the procedure. So God forbid it happened, you know, life above limb, and we'll deal with the legalities later. So I have 2 of those in there because they fit. One of the best wound plugging devices ever is your generic run-of-the-mill tampons. Remember that the tampon came about originally designed as a bullet wound plugging device, so it's originally what it was designed for. So God forbid in the event of gunshot, I mean, I have only 1 of them, but it will certainly help do the trick. And I also carry, just because they seem to be relatively handy, it's like metal nail file. Up here, Lysol, little Lysol to go. These are great. You get always carry a lighter, just because you should always have lighters available. Okay, these 2 I will save to go over last, because there's a lot of little knickknacks in here. We'll finish up with the bag first. These are super densely compressed packed towels. You put just a little dab of water and they expand to something almost the size of a bandana. They're kind of like single use, like paper towels almost, but they're very convenient and packed down very easily. So they're nice to have in there. I usually use these more for camping than anything else, but they're great for this application as well. Little bag stuffed with, I think there's probably maybe like 2 or 3 pair of gloves, exam gloves in here, just because you can never have enough gloves to keep yourself protected. This is awkward. Not a lot of people think of it. Obviously you can't tell what it is in the bag, but this is a pair of thigh-high stockings, like women's stockings. So you can apply ointments or something like that, put this over it, and it can still breathe and oxygenate to heal, but it won't, you won't get fabrics or clothes binding into the scabbing process. In here, fit one of my favorite tools. This is a large triangular bandage or cravat, depending on what you want to call it, with a couple of pins. This pocket, we have, these are, they're called second skin. It's really just blister. They're basically blister pads. It's like a band-aid with like a thick gel pad. Back pocket back here. Wilderness Wash pocket soap. These are those little soap pads. They're just like, you know, just get it wet and it turns into soap. You know, like one dispense at a time. This is just a baggie full of a whole load of different sized band-aids, because band-aids are, everyone needs band-aids, right? A little tube of X-brand Neosporin. This, now I know this is buried kind of deep down and it's not quick access, which it should be for what it is, but this is Celox brand hemostatic agent. This is an artificial clotting agent for arterial bleeds and excessive bleeding that you can't control by other means. So along with the use of a tourniquet, things like that, these come in very, very handy for very, very severe, nasty, bad bleeds. This is the, I've kind of torn some of it apart, but these packs are great if you do a lot of hiking, camping, or anything like that. These blister medic packs are pretty comprehensive, all in one. It shows you all the different, I won't go over it, but you know, all the different types of bandages and things like that that they have for blister care. Anybody who spends a lot of time in the outdoors knows, and even military, especially military guys know, if you don't take care of your feet, your good is done. So that is all for the major contents of this kit. So the one last thing I will go through here is these 2 containers that I have. They're a little bit bigger than an Altoids tin, maybe like 40% bigger. I kind of like using these because they hold just a little bit more. Altoids tins seem to be, for whatever purposes I'm using them for, just a little too small. So we'll go through them one at a time. Let's start with this one. I keep them closed with Ranger bands because they're not hinged, and you never know how difficult these will be to keep closed with how well I have them stuffed. Right on top, wet ones, these are travel packs. Obviously this is very small. It's one individual, but you know, antibacterial just to help keep yourself cleaned up. wet naps. This is what they call a VCB, venous constricting band, or a tourniquet. It's used for IV access, things like that. They come in handy for just a lot of other purposes. One pair of gloves. So yeah, I have gloves everywhere. This is more for me. I use these for, hangnails and splinters and everything else. They're just a pair of like little tweezer things. I carry Tums everywhere. They're just packed into like freaking everything. These are little individual packets of sunscreen instead of carrying a huge thing around. One more individual. I showed these before. These are the little compressed towels. In here, these things are great for packing small stuff. This is just random pills. There's nothing prescription in here. There's a lot of random stuff. The pinks are Benadryl, Aleve, Zantac. The yellow ones are caffeine pills. Toothpick type stuff, just for dental care. These little gum picks and flossers, whatever. Handful of Q-tips. Nail clippers, just because you never know when. This is from Adventure Medical Kits, and this is the part of that insert. These are the moleskins. You can kind of see that you take them out and put them on your feet, and they're padded and felty and soft and nice. This is the rest of this stuff in here. These are the glacier gels, blister and burn dressings. So that's what's in that kit. Kit number 2. Now I should, at some point, I do intend on taping, a little piece of paper label that just lists out everything that's in the kit, so I don't have to open it to try and remember what's in it. When you don't use it a lot, you kind of tend to forget. So at some point I will make a list of what's in there so I can just look without having to open it. But until then, I'll start on the top with a couple of Band-Aids. Now you see some duplicates or reproductions of what's in the main medical kit. Originally, these started off as individual little IFAKs that was supposed to be just this that I could throw in a pocket, but I kind of never really mastered it or never felt comfortable having such limited space to put everything I wanted. So I kind of took what I already had and just started throwing it into the other kit. I have a couple of alcohol prep pads. Band-Aids, tiny little itty bitty Band-Aids. This is a little packet of like 1/10 of an ounce or something of Providone, the iodine ointment. SafeTech Sting Relief has a little bit of lidocaine and ethyl alcohol. It's for insect bites, but this is triple antibiotic ointment here. Basically like Neosporin. This is burn gel. It's topical relief. It has lidocaine in it, which helps numb the skin and helps with burns, whether first or second degree burns, something like that. More AAA-B. Chapstick. This is more for emergency use. Another one of those VCBs, just because it fit. You never know when safety pins will come in handy. This is something everybody in the prepper community always talks about. I don't know anybody who's done it personally, but supposedly you can use super glue for wounds. I would be more apt to use these steri strips that I had before, but in an absolute pinch emergency, and for how small these tiny little things are, it was worth it to just throw one in there just to have. It's called BZK. They're antiseptic towelettes. They're just basically wet wipes with like antibacterial stuff in them. Band-Aids. 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 Some more Band-Aids. Different shape, size, and bigger Band-Aids. And more Band-Aids. In the bottom, I have my favorites. This is it's just taken out of the packaging, but this is one of those Tegaderm bandages. I have a couple sets of steri strips. So, like I said, I would rather use these than this. So, that's the full contents of my IFAK. Some of it is emergency, some of it is comfort type stuff. It can get me through day to day. It can get me through hiking and camping. I think it's as comprehensive as I could put together and fit inside this bag for what I could stuff inside of it. And it's about as full as it gets. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I would really appreciate input. Let me know if there's anything critical you think I'm missing, or if you have questions about where I get stuff or anything like that, please let me know. And I'll catch you guys around for the next one. Urban Gotham Prepper out.